This is CBC Vancouver News.
I will say a prayer for reprimanded, the children who cry.
The Williams Lake First Nation says it has found dozens more potential graves at the site of a former residential school in BC. More tough news for workers in BC's battered forestry sector. Another mill is closing down, and with it, possibly hundreds of jobs.
It's okay, baby. It's all right. We'll help you.
And lending a hand for some stuck hooves. We'll show you a big rescue in the Okanagan. Good evening, I'm Dan Burritt. Thanks for joining us. More potential unmarked graves have been found at the site of a former residential school here in BC. That news comes after a second search by the Williams Lake First Nation. The CBC's Brady Strachan was there.
A sacred fire that will burn for 4 days.
It's no longer being afraid to be out, basically out in the world, out in public.
This community unites as it confronts horrible truths of the past.
I will say a prayer for reprimanded, the children who cry.
The Williams Lake First Nation announced 66 potential graves on top of the more than 90 discovered last year at the site of a former residential school.
Some Canadians question the legitimacy of the investigation data, whether it be geophysical, documentary, or forensic. To those who are skeptical, we assure you that there is an overwhelming abundance of evidence.
Thousands of Indigenous children were forced to attend St. Joseph's between the late 1800s and 1981, with numerous reports of abuse, rape, starvation, and death. Last March, during a visit here, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau pledged funding, which was used for this second survey using ground-penetrating radar to explore 16 hectares of land near the school. Now the First Nation must confront a difficult decision.
To date, we have identified 48 different nations that had kids attend the St. Joseph's mission. 48 nations to potentially engage with when we start talking about excavation and exhumation is a scary thought.
Those who attended the school say the way forward is through the cultural practices that were once banned.
Releasing each individual to let it go, because many of us have been hanging on to it. Go ahead and cry. Go ahead and sing your songs. Go ahead and hug someone.
The way forward, he says, is supporting one another as they deal with the trauma of the past. Brady Strachan, CBC News, Williams Lake First Nation.
It is grim news for some UBC students living on campus at Point Grey. Their housing is about to cost them more, even as some try to balance studying and work to pay the bills. As Saurabh Sandhu reports, the university blames inflation and rising costs.
Kevin Sway is a second-year engineering student at UBC. On top of studying, he works part-time delivering food to help cover his expenses. But it soon may not be enough to pay for his on-campus housing.
I'm just going to have to work more part-time shifts. I'm just going to have to make up that difference, unfortunately, to make ends meet.
In a recent email, UBC warned students to prepare for rent hikes up to 8% starting in April.
For one entire year, that's around $1,200 more in rent, and that $1,200 could go towards tuition or several months of groceries.
BC's tenancy laws allow only 2% annual rent increase in 2023. But the university's student housing contracts are renewed every year and not subject to an annual cap.
Probably going to be a trend, like it'll probably go up in the next few years.
The increases are due to several factors, including catching up from 2 years of 0% increases during COVID, high rates of inflation, and needed investments in the 10-year housing growth plan to provide housing for more students in the future. UBC claims this year's increase will be between 3.5% and 8%, and even with that, its student housing rates are still lower than the same market rental rates.
We have very severe housing shortage, especially in the rental market, and that's showing up with very low vacancy rates and high rents.
Pavlov says Due to subsidies, tuition rates in Canada are lower than other countries. But what students save in school fees is often eaten up by housing costs.
6 to 8% doesn't seem outrageous. It seems in line with the costs of everything else.
But many like Sui say such a hike is simply too much.
I do think they are hoping to compensate for the 2 years of rent freeze that we got over the pandemic. But I still don't think this was a wise choice by the university at a time of sky-high inflation.
Other students say they may try to find work, cut their expenses, or ask for help from their parents.
We can try to live off campus, but it's not much more affordable than this.
Saurabh Sandhu, CBC News, Vancouver.
There is yet another hit for hundreds of workers in our beleaguered forestry sector. Canfor says it is permanently closing its mill, another one in northern BC. Late this afternoon, Canfor announced it is shutting down its sawmill and pellet plant in Chetwynd for good. It's also closing its sawmill in Houston for what it calls an extended period as part of restructuring. The union for both workers at both mills says at least 400 people will be out of a job, making it tough for those laid off to stay in those remote communities. Just 2 weeks ago, Canfor announced it was closing the pulp line at one of its Prince George mills and cutting 300 jobs there. The Steelworkers Union says it fears more cuts are coming.
Even in the smaller towns, it's BC. It's not easy just to sell your house and move and find other work. Usually, you have in this day and age with mortgages and high home prices, if you're going to find other work, you got to commute somewhere else. I mean, in Chetwynd, Fort St. John is an hour plus away, so is Dawson.
BC's Forest Minister says community support teams have been sent to help affected workers. It has already pledged more help for the beleaguered sector, including a $90 million manufacturing jobs fund. A new report is highlighting the lack of affordable housing for seniors in Vancouver's Chinatown. It also points to the need for more culturally appropriate resources and care there. As Yasmin Gandam tells us, there are calls for the government to step up and do more.
The report gives a snapshot at the availability of SROs and non-market housing units in the Chinatown and downtown East Side neighborhoods. Currently, there are 12,788 units of affordable housing in the area, of which only 2,095 are designated as senior housing spaces. Vancouver-based Immigrant and Refugee Services Agency Success says finding options for vulnerable populations like seniors is incredibly important.
They want safe and they want a very affordable and comfortable environment so that they can enjoy the rest of their life while they're living in Vancouver, Chinatown.
The report was prompted by the initial private sale in early 2021 of Grace Seniors Home in Chinatown, which could have evicted 70 Chinese seniors. Those evictions were averted when BC Housing stepped in to buy the building. This uncertainty forced Tim Lamb's grandfather to move out of the neighborhood after over 30 years.
And he has a tough time connecting with other people. He lacks the ability to walk around, visit his stores, visit services, have a sense of independence that a senior wants to have.
The report finds culturally appropriate spaces and resources are crucial.
It's the language, it's your friends. So we do want to create these spaces for seniors to age in place.
But Tan says there is space in Chinatown that could be developed.
McLean Park, there's actually a surface level parking lot that could be turned from just parking into housing, put that parking lot underground. Or there's also private sites like 105 Kiefer or Tosi's Market that could be acquired.
Success and other community partners behind the report hope for more of a commitment from government to address the unique needs of Chinatown seniors. The goal is to develop 1,000 existing units coupled with 1,000 new ones by the year 2030. Yasmin Gandam, CBC News, Vancouver.
The city, meanwhile, says it could soon do away with fees for plastic and disposable cups. Mayor Ken Sim and his ABC Vancouver slate have voiced their plans to get rid of it. As John Hernandez tells us, there's still no public data, though, on how well the rule has been keeping cups out of landfills.
It's another thirsty lunch rush in downtown Vancouver, and there's no shortage of disposable cups to be seen.
I have a vanilla bean frappuccino from Starbucks.
I do have a refillable one in my car, which I kind of forgot to take.
The Vancouver Cup bylaw, a 25-cent fee for disposable cups, has been in place since January of last year. The goal, to reduce the up to 82 million cups that have been estimated to enter city landfills annually. But critics and consumers say it isn't clear if it's changed buyer behavior.
It's kind of just an extra on top that I always just pay for. It's a bit of an inconvenience.
To be honest, 25 cents is like not really a lot, but you know, it definitely adds up.
Some members of City Council say it's been costly but not effective.
What we're hearing, of course, anecdotally at this stage, because we've just crossed that 1 year mark, is people are spending hundreds of dollars on these fees that add up.
Ken Sims' ABC Vancouver slate, which has a majority on City Council, has pledged to axe the fees this year.
What we've heard from the business community and residents is the cup fee just ain't working, that it's punitive, and so that's why we're committed to getting rid of this, the cup fee by this summer.
The Retail Council of Canada supports the move, saying the policy was costly for businesses from the start.
You had to have your system reprogrammed, not once in fact, but twice to charge the cup fee. And then you had to change menus, menu boards, platforms on delivery apps.
ABC Vancouver has pledged a more education-oriented approach to keep garbage out of landfills. Meanwhile, city staff say they're still assessing data to see just how effective the cup bylaw has been. Green councillors who were in favor of it are calling for patience to see what the numbers might say.
I would hope that they would, respect the staff process enough to allow them to report back. I know this report's coming in a matter of months.
A policy that's likely cost Vancouverites millions of dollars could soon be headed for the garbage bin. John Hernandez, CBC News, Vancouver.
A registered massage therapist in the city has been reprimanded for sending an anti-COVID vaccine email to patients last January. The College of Massage Therapists of BC says Ian Glass used his clinic's database to email more than 200 people, criticizing the efficacy and safety of vaccines and the proposed mandate for health professionals. It also says recipients' emails were shared with others because Glass didn't blind carbon copy them. The college says he has agreed to a 2-day suspension and education on professional ethics and boundaries. CBC News has not heard back from Glass nor the clinic for comment. The province is putting forward new protections to help preserve more than 50,000 hectares of the temperate rainforests outside Revelstoke.
Kamaplu is one of BC's greatest treasures. It's home to old-growth cedars and hemlock trees that are 4 meters in diameter. For reference, that's 2 of me, but sideways. These trees are more than 1,000 years old.
The Nkamaplu Valley was included in logging deferrals in the 2020 Old Growth Strategy Review. The province is partnering with First Nations for the new conservancy, which will span over 58,000 hectares. That is the size of 150 Stanley Parks. Coastal GasLink is being fined again for breaking environmental rules. The Environmental Assessment Office has issued the pipeline a fine of more than $213,000. It's for failing to answer the recurring issues of erosion and sediment control measures that were identified during an inspection last February. This is the 3rd time Coastal GasLink has been fined. Once finished, that pipeline will deliver natural gas from Dawson Creek to Kitimat for export. Online deal hunters are once again being reminded to be very careful after one Burnaby resident was duped into buying a counterfeit Rolex off someone he met on Craigslist. The RCMP says the exchange happened in November. The man got in touch with the seller about an ad for the Rolex Wimbledon. He was told it came with a receipt and a certificate of authenticity and cost a cool $10,000. It was only after the buyer got it that he got suspicious, and an appraisal confirmed his worst fear: it's a fake. Police remind you, if something is too good to be true, probably is. Talk about lending a helping hand. For a Princeton couple, it was a regular drive to Penticton for a doctor's appointment yesterday. That is until Angie Hilmer and Kirk Barharn spotted a moose in trouble on the side of the road. That's when they jumped out to help.
Oh, I didn't see her. Right there, right there. Oh, poor thing. She's stuck in the fence.
Anyway, so he said, oh, look, there's tracks in the road. And it's fresh because it was snowing. And he said, oh, it's a moose track. So anyway, we were probably going about a kilometer. And then he goes, oh, she's up. There it is.
Well, on the drive to Penticton, we get to run into a moose that needs help. Look at it. It's all tangled in.
I just figured, well, I got to get this moose out of here.
It's okay, baby. It's all right. We'll help you.
Actually, I saw it when she tried to jump over the fence. She slipped and wasn't able to clear it. Now, if she would have just tried to walk over it, she probably could have walked over it, no problem. But I don't think she could move at all because I think her front hooves were in there and the back hooves were. The one was really tight. The other one wasn't too bad. So I was able to get the one off fairly easily. But the second one, it was, I guess, because when she got tangled up, then she fell over, sort of like tightened up the wire around her hoof.
Careful she doesn't kick you.
So yeah, it took all the effort I had to bend that wire off.
She's very good. Good girl. Off you go, baby. You're welcome. I know she's thankful. You get better, Phil? I did.
Good job. Love that. Saanich Police is welcoming the newest member of its force. His name is Beacon. Yeah, he looks like a good dog, too. As an operational stress intervention dog, Beacon is trained to sense anxiety in staff and also comfort victims of crime during in-person interviews. The 2-year-old Black Lab was donated to police by Wounded Warriors Canada and Vancouver Island Compassion Dogs. This year's deadly avalanche season has forecasters pleading with people to avoid danger in the backcountry. But how is climate change impacting mountain safety? And do we need to rethink our approach? That story's next. Thanks for watching our commercial-free live stream tonight. After becoming a parent or guardian, it doesn't take too long before you feel like your home is full of toys. 2 moms wanted to change that, so they started a toy rental business. As Talia Ricci reports, the goal is to reduce clutter and be more sustainable.
Can you show everybody how you play with this one, please? As is the case with most toddlers, this excitement is often short-lived. It's something this mom wanted to plan ahead for.
You get toys, your baby is interested in them for a while, and then, inevitably they lose interest. And in a traditional model where you're buying, you're stuck with that clutter. Let's say that he loved this.
Before her son was even born, she did some research online and came across the Toy Exchange Club. Basically, the idea is renting the toys instead of buying them.
I was overwhelmed with the idea of how to play with my child, and I also did not want to have my living room overrun with plastic and toy clutter.
For the founders, the idea was born out of their experience being moms, not wanting clutter around the house, but also wanting to keep toys out of the landfill.
So families receive a box of 7 to 8 toys for 3 months. They also receive with that box a guide on how to play with each toy and what development milestones your child should be reaching within that time period. At the end of the 3 months, families return the box in exchange for a new box of toys that are more challenging.
The toys are Montessori inspired. They're all wooden. They are curated specifically to support a child's age and developmental stage. I hope that we can sort of reframe the way that families think about toys and the fact that toys are not, we don't need to own them, especially in those early years. They're outgrown so quickly.
As more people try to shop sustainably, the Toronto Environmental Alliance says businesses that focus on a sharing economy are becoming more popular. It's a trend that's happening in the clothing industry too.
When it comes to things like toys or even clothing, being able to share or borrow or rent them instead of owning it yourself is a really great way that we can reduce waste, save money, and reduce the environmental impact.
Hey, should we put these ones in? Sonia hopes the idea inspires other parents to keep the planet in mind.
My hope is really that more families and more parents understand that there are options, and you don't have to sacrifice what you want for your children just because you want to do it sustainably.
Talia Ricci, CBC News, Toronto.
It has already been a tragic season for winter backcountry enthusiasts in our province. 5 people have been killed so far in avalanches. Avalanche Canada has warned the snowpack is unusually weak and highly dangerous, with the worst conditions in 2 decades. That's because of long periods of drought followed by cold weather and then snow. We spoke with an SFU researcher about what role climate change is playing in all this.
I think we have some ideas what will happen in the future in terms of like avalanche hazards going to decrease at low elevations where we're going to expect warmer temperatures and less snow. But we can't really predict what's going to happen at high elevations because we don't know that relationship yet between how frequent these extreme weather events are and climate change. What we can expect is that we're going to have more unusual winters. Like it will just really... can change from year to year.
There is a live shot of a mildly bustling Georgia Street. First the drizzle, then the chill. That is our weather recipe for the next few days on the South Coast. Johanna will have your BC-wide forecast right after this.
Hockey seems to be the most popular thing up here in Vancouver. We've got some Pro Set Series 2, and we got Platinum, and we got some Parkhurst. And we got
the sports card business really isn't any different from any other business.
Well, we'll see what we got. Yeah.
There are buyers, and there are sellers.
If he gets any good cards, we keep them. No. We'll automatically do some trading. Ooh. I know. Don't you really like those? He's more than just an average all-star. He's a frequent all-star. Oh, Monty, this is a great pack. Nice package, eh? Definitely worth buying. $1.75. I'll buy that one from you then. Okay.
Ed Smith, the owner of Sports Card Heaven in East Vancouver, is both. And recently he turned a fast food promotion into fast cash.
The very best of the NHL. The McDonald's Upper Deck All-Star Collector Series. Each pack of 4, 29 cents with any soft drink purchase.
I think it's probably the best thing they ever did, and if they do it again next year, they'll see a very big increase of business. I think they should do it almost every year.
Okay, let's go get the numbers. How many packages did you buy?
1,300 packages.
At 29 cents per?
29 cents a package.
Went south of the border and sold them for?
$1 a package without a problem.
So the cash register dings up what?
About 700 easy.
McDonald's restaurants declined to comment on the cashing of their cards.
The most popular ones seem to be Wayne Gretzky, Brett Hall.
Smith still has a few complete sets of the promotional series that he plans to peddle for profit. What do you think about this entrepreneur behind the counter here buying McDonald's cards for 29 cents and selling them for $1 or $1.25?
I'm sure everybody thought that, why didn't I do that? Because in this business, everybody thinks that they're going to try and get the one-upmanship on everyone else, but when they actually see a success like what Ed did, I term a success, I think it's pretty good.
Doesn't bother you?
Not at all, no.
So if I go to McDonald's, get my cards, come in and see you, how much are you going to buy them from me for?
75 cents easy.
And then you'll turn around and sell them for?
For $1 to $1.25 right now. And the price goes up every day. So as time goes by, the price will continually go up. We've heard guys down in Texas actually paying $75 a set and $5 a package.
You put a little sign on your door, over 100 sold?
Land Back is a CBC original podcast where we uncover land theft in Canada and look at how Indigenous people are taking it all back. Land Back is out now on CBC Listen or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, I'm Amy Bell, and here's what's in your CBC Vancouver inbox.
Celebrate the city's most impactful leaders with Anita Bath at the annual Vancouver Magazine Power 50 Awards. Join the fun February 2nd at the Terminal City Club. Learn more and get tickets at vanmag.com. And never miss a special programming series, event, or contest. Subscribe to CBC Vancouver's e-newsletter at cbc.ca/Vancouver inbox and keep connected with us.
The weather update is brought to you by Direct Buy Furnace, installing the most reliable heating and cooling brand. It's hard to stop a train.
Time for our BC-wide weather forecast with meteorologist Johanna Wagstaffe,
Yes.
who did not forget that today is Robbie Burns Day. Nicely done.
Thank you. I never forget Robbie Burns Day because it also happens to be my dad's birthday. But
Hello, Mr. Wagstaffe, and happy birthday to you. Good day to be born. Lots of poetry to abound.
Exactly. Yeah, the best laid plans always happen on January 25th.
Oh, very good. Not an ode to a louse, though. Well, that
You
too,
know
maybe.
you're Robbie Burns as well.
Just a wee bit. There we are.
And I feel like if CBC had a tartan, this would be it. I feel like if we had a tartan, this would be it.
It would be very good. All right, get the comms people on that.
Okay, yeah, we're working on it. We're also working on clearing skies. I know we were hoping for them today. We didn't see much across Metro Vancouver. Drier than yesterday. And that's about it for the break. As moisture moves in from the northwest, the drizzle is back for your Thursday forecast. I want to take you through the next few hours. Look how patchy the green is. That's the rain. Here's Thursday, 6 a.m. It starts to pick up in intensity. I don't think we'll see much as far as accumulations go, but all of Thursday looking pretty soggy. Just that general drizzle all day long. Friday, 5 a.m., I do think we'll see some clearing for Friday. Not an all-day sunny one, but hopefully some more sunny breaks than we saw today. Looking to see that drizzle right across the south coast. Port Hardy, drizzle to start. Same story on the east side of the island, Nanaimo, pretty drizzly to begin your Thursday. Seeing some weather across the interior as well. Again, as that north to south kind of flow brings a bit of weather in overnight. And with temperatures coming down to the freezing mark, most of that weather will be flurries tonight, changing over to showers in the afternoon. Okay, so this is that clockwise flow. Here's that drizzle sinking down to the coast tomorrow. And then it keeps going. So we clear right back out again for Friday, Saturday. And then look at this. That's the Arctic front as we head into Saturday night. That's going to really cool us down. A general 10-degree drop as that pink Arctic air mass slides in for the weekend, taking you right through to next Wednesday. Notice it starts to lift again. So it's not a long duration cold event at this point, but enjoy those sixes as we head into the start of the weekend. And things are going to feel very different for Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then keeping an eye on Wednesday, Dan, when things turn around again.
You're going to need that tartan coat to keep warm.
Absolutely.
Nicely done. And let's end in Switzerland, where for 9 days every January, a normally sleepy and quiet village in the Alps gets filled with hot air. They're celebrating the 40th anniversary of the Hot Air Balloon Festival. This year, 60 balloons from 15 countries are taking part. The event attracts up to 35,000 spectators. The area is known for winds that change direction during the day, so the balloons can fly out in the morning and return in the afternoon, thankfully. This year's festival wraps up on Sunday. That's your late news for Wednesday. Thank you for joining us tonight. For News Anytime, check our website, cbc.ca/BC. Your next local news is on the early edition on CBC Radio 1 that begins tomorrow morning at 5 o'clock. Good night.